Last week on the Poisonrana Patreon, we talked all about the Von Erich family in our first ever episode of Poison Profile.
I'd say, the Freebirds taking on the Von Erichs with Dad stepping in there is just like, stepping in with Mike, right? It's Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Fritz and Kevin, because Kerry is going to be in the main event for the title. It's just like, wow, this is insane, and it's such a feeling. Again, the crowd like screaming and losing it.
Cage Match says it's around 32,000. You hear in different promos 40,000, 50,000. It's wrestling. There are 200,000 people here at Texas Stadium for this, but it's wild.
Get this show plus NXT retro reviews, wrestling reviews, movie reviews, and so much more over at patreon.com/PoisonRana, and it's only $5. So what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Poisonrana.
Hello. Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana. You found us on whatever podcast app you are listening to us on, or maybe you're joining us
live on youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. Hello, YouTube room.
Hello. Yes, it's Sunday. It's the Frogs Day, and we're here to talk about wrestling. I know that a lot of people are going to be watching NFL, football, the fake sports.
Is it on today? I think it was yesterday.
I think there's a game.
Or is it Monday?
Too.
It's not on. Okay.
Yeah. I know because we're in Toronto, but just across the pond, you can hear the shovels clearing out Bill Stadium there for the game because of all the snow.
We've got an hour. Before.
We got an hour. Yeah. All right, we got to get it.
Well, let's
talk about
Okada,
Dynamite, everything. So I know that, on the road to WrestleMania will be clear of football. So I'm excited for this WrestleMania season. But hello, welcome to Poisonrana. If you're listening to this on a podcast like app like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, hit that subscribe, hit that follow, write a nice little review if you can. It goes a long way. And if you are finding us on YouTube here, definitely hit that subscribe and check out all the other stuff that we do. We will be going live over on the Post Wrestling feed on Tuesday night. So join us for Up Next as we go live on the road to Vengeance Day. And then when is Vengeance Day? That's what, in a few weeks then?
4th off the top of my head.
Okay,
4th
so
of Feb.
Before the Super Bowl. It's not the same.
It's the week before, yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. So yes, lots and lots of stuff going on. We'll be going live after that show as well. So follow us on all the socials, whatever social media you use. Definitely give us a follow at PoisonRanaPod for all the updates of stuff that we do, because we do lots of shows.
So many shows
over on this show, but we don't have lots of snow here. We're talking about Buffalo just being attacked. It seemed like everywhere on the news this week, it was snow in different parts of the states that never get snow.
I mean, even the UK has been colder than it normally gets over there. Like, it's in the negatives, which is, it's cold for over there.
But you always hear the jokes like, oh, Canadians, snow, this and that. And we really didn't get it much. It's been really cold, but it's been interesting seeing Vegas and Florida and all these different places getting snow and snowstorms, all these places. It's like, wow, okay. So does that mean it's just coming hard later?
I mean, this week's going to be tropical practically. It's going up to 5 degrees.
Wow.
So
Hawaiian
that's pretty
shirts
nice.
on Tuesday?
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent. So yeah, stay warm, stay cool wherever the hell you are. But welcome to Poisonrana. How you doing? How's your dry January?
It's going well. It's like pretty easy now. I think once you get over a couple of days, Tuesday night, I definitely wanted to drink because my planned trip to BC fell through, as I mentioned on Up Next. So that kind of sucked and kind of stressed me out. But yeah, apart from that, it's been pretty easy.
We went to Demand Lucha on Thursday night, and usually that's when we go into a bit of a rampage. Not really, we're respectable, but we didn't this time around. So we went. We had a few smoke breaks. It's definitely like we're I don't want to say we're cheating, but like I prefer smoking weed most of the time. And
really, you've never mentioned it before.
When we do dry January,
you're like vegan. You never talk about how you don't eat meat. You're like CrossFit. You never talk about how you do CrossFit.
I feel like
tell us more about this weed.
It's cheating if you do dry, it's still, you're not like completely sober, but how do you find it? Like you're not drinking and just smoking.
It's okay. Like I can take it or leave it.
Yeah. Because I feel like some people are like, no, I go cold turkey of like, all my vices kind of thing.
I mean, it's been more like money I'm trying to saving up for Mania. Hopefully, like wondering if our landlord's going to pull landlord shit again in a month or so. So like trying to like save some money, but also, just feel a little healthier. I've been getting so much more done this month, like a lot of projects I finally got on top of, got taxes out the way, all of that stuff. So it's nice waking up feeling clearer. Also been trying a bunch of like non-alcoholic drinks as well, which kind of it's nice to kind of relax. Like in the evening, I'd, open a beer or pour a glass of wine or something like that. And, a can of Coke or a ginger ale doesn't really do the same for me. Yeah. But, like they've upped their game, the non-alcoholic stuff. One of our favorite beers in the city is Jelly King by Bellwood's Brewery. Yeah. And I had their alcohol-free version, and you know what? It was pretty good. So, I still get that kind of relaxing thing from it that I wouldn't necessarily get from a can of Coke. So that's been good. As I said, save some money, just getting more done. It's been pretty good so far. I think I'll probably continue through February as well.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna break my dry Jan with the Royal Rumble, and then that'll be the only day this month, and then the same for February. I'm trying to think like what even is going on in February that would make me want.
Super Bowl's the only real thing.
Oh right, yeah, maybe then too. So. Yeah, and then other than that,
I think I'll just eat like 3 pounds of wings instead.
I'll probably do that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna come join you at your Super Bowl. You're doing a bit of a Super Bowl party.
Yeah, doing the same like setup as our watch parties for the Super Bowl at my bar.
Yeah, for any Toronto people, if you didn't get tickets to our Royal Rumble watch party, which is next Saturday, it's too late. I'm sorry.
It's completely sold out now. You can try your luck on the door, but honestly, we are bursting at the seams, really, for our watch party. So try your luck, but it's, again, going to be cold. You will probably have to be waiting outside until we figure out if we can seat you or not. But this Royal Rumble, it's everyone's favorite event, right? So lots of like different factors going into this Rumble and everything. So it's sold incredibly well, and it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, this one we expected that we'd sell out really quickly, and we sold out before right as we even put on the show, as like put the out essentially, and we're excited for this one. So if you did buy a ticket, we will hopefully see you there. See you soon at this Rumble watch party, and let us know where you're going to be watching the Royal Rumble. We'll be sharing some pics and some videos, I'm sure, next week from the rowdiness, because we know we got some rowdy people coming through. Is Rowdy Randy coming?
I've not heard from Rowdy
Randy better show up.
Yeah,
this thing. I know he's listening sometime, somehow, right now, wherever he is. He's listening and he's having a chuckle. But hopefully we see him. Hopefully we get to see security guard extraordinaire, Big Tom.
Big Tom will be there, yeah.
Who was famously in Joey Janela's videos this weekend from the Demand Lucha show with that guy, Ricky. Maybe John Pollock will show up. I don't know. He's not going to show up, but
he's on a leash somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not allowed to show up. He's barred from this event. But yeah, you're going to see some of our regulars. I'm definitely excited about that. But happy Rumble, people.
Been getting all the prizes in. We'll be doing a couple of Rumble pools. I've got Rumble trivia on the go. Some sweet prizes we're going to give away, as well as some cash prizes.
Yeah, Rumble Games is a fun time. I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit, and I'm sure we'll go into it a bit more on Tuesday after we talk about NXT. But like, I think Punk is the one. Like, if your number that you got money on lands on Punk, I'd say it's a safe bet that you're winning this week. I think it's that.
Could be. I think the women's is more open right now. Like I am leaning towards Bayley. I think now that on Raw this week they did the strong tease for Becky Rhea, and doing that tease, it kind of sounded like, well, you don't need to win the Rumble to face Rhea. You both want to face each other. There's another women's title. It doesn't seem necessary. I think Becky just has to get over that, like get that win back over Nia, and then she's like up against Rhea. Like I think that makes sense. So I think it's Bayley, but you have
the same could be said though for the men's, right? Like Punk winning it. I mean, we'll talk about Seth. We'll get into all this stuff with the injury and everything. But if Punk wins, like, why would he go after the secondary title? Why wouldn't he go, hey, Roman?
I mean, you could have The Rock show up at 30.
Yeah, I think The Rock's winning. I think The Rock's
always
winning.
have, there are rumors of potentially a three-way, which for me, like, I prefer singles matches, but we don't know how it's over a decade since Rock had like a proper wrestling match, and he got injured at that. Can he still go? I mean, obviously it's going to be a Roman style match. If it's the two of them, it will be a lot of spectacle. It will be a lot of walking around, a lot of posing, but would having Cody in the mix kind of help The Rock out, with that kind of thing?
Protect him a little bit.
Exactly. So there's always the potential of Cody. And you mentioned Seth's injury, which we'll be dating this show very soon because Raw is tomorrow and they're going to be giving an update. I feel he could potentially just rest until Mania and still work Mania. Like it's the ACL and meniscus, not the MCL, which I believe is like the worst one. So, like I've heard time frames of like 10, 11 weeks, which is around Mania season. And, he's pretty tough, can tough it through. I wonder if you just rest him until there, in which case, do you make the Rumble for the title? And
no, because The Rock is like, I don't want that. I don't want the cuck title. I want the real one. Give me the fucking title.
I mean, The Rock might not be there then. Like, I think there's so many different questions. I think Punk is probably the like most like logical one. But if Seth is completely out the mix, you could go more left field with whoever you want to face Punk.
Right. Like Punk wins the Rumble, gets the title that way, and then Seth chases him at Mania. I don't know if that's...
Or you do, depending where you want to go, if Seth is out, the other feud they seem to be building is Drew. You could always have Drew again, Punk win the title, the vacant title in the Chamber, and something like that. Like there's definitely different ways you can go. I agree. I think if I was a betting man, which I am, I'd probably put money on Punk, but there's definitely different routes you can go, which makes the whole show way more interesting. And as I said, the women's as well. Like, I feel every week we're hearing reports, Mercedes Moné showing up in AEW. She hasn't yet.
Right.
It could be a way to drive up, like Brock used to do it every fucking other Mania season. He'd be like, I'm going back to UFC, guys. All right, here's more money. Cool, thanks. That could be an option.
Yeah.
Like, you could have Sasha win the Rumble and challenge Io, or
be crazy.
Or Bayley wins the title at the Chamber off of Io, and you have Bayley Sasha at Mania.
Right.
Like there's so many different routes you can go, which I always find way more interesting than there were so many years where you're like, Austin's winning them, Brock's winning this one, Triple H is winning this one. Like, you knew it, and I think it's really exciting.
I think it's a definitely exciting time. I hope we do still get Seth versus Punk at Mania, because I think I'm in the minority, but I keep hearing everyone say how great Drew has been. And you know what? I've purposely tuned in after the fact to his Raw segments. They didn't hit for me like I think it's hitting for everyone else. The promo off between him and Punk was very like WWE CM Punk that I'm slowly not interested in anymore. Like it's that quick that I'm like, you're the guy that like you've shit on before, and you're becoming that guy. So it's definitely slowly drooping off the excitement of this. But I think they'll fix that once he comes out in the Rumble.
Yeah, I feel it's kind of the treading water stage at the moment, and you've got these beats in the story, kind of starting with the Rumble, and then we'll really get cooking. I've really been enjoying Drew's promo work. I like the whole. He reminds me of heel Bret Hart. You know, like nothing he's saying is necessarily wrong.
Yeah.
And he's completely justified in his actions. And I like the stuff this week with Cody bringing up their like history together, and even their match at What Culture and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm enjoying it. I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's refreshing to see a character like this in wrestling for me.
Absolutely. I just think he's still kind of boring when the wrestling kind of hits for me, and the last few matches and just that promo off, it just, I don't know, it seemed the Punk is already going to the well of like the stuff he's been doing already. And I'm like, okay, maybe we're saving some of the good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Like you have to save some of the good stuff. I believe tomorrow night, again, dating us, but tomorrow night it's Cody and Punk face to face, right? So like, yeah, I'm going to be watching that because I'm like, well, are you going to do the same cookie cutter shit you've kind of been doing already? Or are you going to maybe step it up to hype up the Rumble? And I think I'll be surprised.
I mean, tomorrow is the one, both guys, you know, leaving AEW. Yeah. You're definitely going to get the references there and stuff. I think the money with Punk is when he's a heel, you know, and you're kind of in a bit of a
right now. Yeah, exactly.
And there is this sort of elephant in the room the whole time. And he's made allusions at a time to, you know, AEW, but it's not, you know, the sort of like complete burning the bridges that everyone's wanted to see. That is Punk, but there's probably reasons and valid reasons
NDAs.
For that. And also you saw like the WWE audience as a whole is very different from the AEW audience. He's done those references about
and silence.
Punching a guy backstage, and the majority of the crowd don't.
Yeah, but that was at the tribute to the troops.
Yeah.
So like those people don't really, they're busy, right? They don't watch wrestling. So they didn't understand what the fuck he was talking about. So I do like it was a weird time to drop that reference.
Chris Elliott also bringing up in the room that we also have the Damian Priest factor with Priest could cash in on Monday night to take the title.
Yeah,
Rollins.
You know, we're big fans of Priest going back to NXT, going back to Ring of Honor days. I've always liked this guy, and I think he's in a great position right now with the Judgment Day being one of the hottest acts right now. But I don't know if he's the right WrestleMania guy, especially if you're putting Punk in the mix for that title and everything. So as much as I love him, like right now is not the time to go Punk Damian Priest. I don't think that would be the big kind of match. But I'm also saying for myself as a fan, Drew and Punk also ain't it for me. Like as much as that's probably potentially a match on the table.
Is it something you like? I don't really like the flip-flopping of titles, but it is something you could maybe do for a match for Chamber.
If Seth comes out and says, actually, I'm hurt, I'm not wrestling for a while until Mania, until whatever. Yeah, Priest could cash in on him. Well, you're injured, mate. Mine now. And then Punk versus Priest at the Chamber. Yeah. And Punk wins it. And then Seth comes back to win it. At Mania. Right. Yeah. So there's this season is already like,
I mean, it is
interesting.
It is crazy that we are in a position in WWE where one of your big guys in Seth Rollins, and this was going to be like a marquee match, probably night one main event, Rollins versus Punk, could potentially be out, and there's so many different options you can go.
There's a lot of good baby faces.
Same on the Roman side as well. There's I think Rock is the match they're probably going to go with.
Yeah,
but Cody as a 1B, that was the match we thought we were getting all year.
Yeah.
Is great as well.
I'm not even opposed to the triple threat, to be honest. Like Cody, Rock, going back to that. Cody, Rock, Roman, you think about it, you groan, but it's like, well, yeah, both Roman and The Rock aren't going to have a good match. If Cody's invested.
You have to have, I think with that, though, Roman has to win.
Yeah.
You can't have Roman drop this title, this reign.
In a triple threat?
Yeah. Like, you can't have, like Cody has to pin Roman for it, and it just feels less than. Right. So but then we'll be getting into someone soon.
Yeah,
like
Cody
I think now you do potentially have a whole other year worth of opponents, as long as you're having the like Rollins title regularly defended.
Yeah,
I don't mind this part-time schedule for the big one.
They want to beat Hogan's record, right?
Yeah.
So Yeah, if it's The Rock, I don't see him beating. It really would have made more sense in Hollywood with The Rock. Like, Rock, like, what were you filming? What was going on that
The story wasn't there for him, brother.
Yeah, the story wasn't there because I was losing was probably it. But like, it would have made more sense for him to face Roman last year,
Yeah.
and then Cody this year and wins.
But it's the 40th anniversary, you know.
Yeah.
That's a big deal as well.
Yeah.
They do also have a history of, you know, the 10-year anniversaries of triple threats.
Yeah, that is true.
WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 30. Also have the double duty thing as well. You know, Brett doing double duty at WrestleMania 10.
Right.
Danielson doing double duty WrestleMania 30.
Yeah. So The Rock is doing double duty.
Rock's not.
I don't even think he could do the Rumble spot, man.
Rock's barely doing a double on DDT. You know?
Yeah. Still haven't seen Black Adam, but one day.
No.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I don't want to.
You're saying one day. I'm like, yeah.
No. I was looking on my apps the other day. I'm like, well, what should I watch right now? It said leaving soon, right? Whenever that's on a streaming app, you're like, well, I got to see these movies before it leaves the streaming app that I use. I use a bunch of them, but that was in like 2 different apps. Leaving soon, Black Adam. And I'm like, do I watch it? Nah.
I watched American Nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, Cody Rhodes isn't in it.
Yeah.
I know this story. I've been following it for the past for a while.
Fucked. Fuck the police, yo.
I've been on a rabbit hole.
Oh.
Have you been on the internet? Have you searched this into Twitter or like TikTok and gone down the rabbit hole?
I looked at some like news articles like after I'd watched it. Just typed in American Nightmare and see.
It's the Huskins missing Gone Girl story that was like in the news for so long, and then I watched a bunch of true stuff. But as soon as I saw this came out, I had to watch it. So I definitely would recommend. It's terrifying and so fucked that like the police are that shitty. Because I watch a lot of shows right now at work that we air. Like true crime is really popular right now. I'm sure podcasts as well. But there's these shows that are like the one fatal flaw or like the one click that like costed them their whole, like these criminals like get away for years. But then it's like, wait, their phone pinged at this location at that exact time. Okay, they're guilty because like why were you there kind of thing. And that's the world we live in now with all this technology. The one thing in this American Nightmare story is like they airplane mode the guy's fucking phone.
Yeah,
the cops did.
Yeah.
Whereas if they didn't.
Awful.
The phone number went in and went,
ago.
oh, this guy's an idiot. He used his real cell phone. He's over there.
Yeah.
We found him.
It's fucked.
And instead, these poor people had to go through this.
It's something watching it that I've always thought watching films like, you know, I'll watch Scream.
Yeah.
And I'll go, like, at the end of that, it's just kind of Sydney walking out.
Yeah.
And all these dead bodies around her. She never gets arrested.
Yeah.
You know, like she has killed 2 people in self-defense, like the 2 Scream mask people. And you're like, and this has happened for like 5 different years with her.
Not in real life.
Like she's never got arrested.
In real life, they're like, a woman and dead bodies, you're guilty.
Exactly. But like, imagine like, not only have you been kidnapped for a couple of days, but then you come out and
super fucked.
You're being arrested for it.
I will say, just finishing it last night, and again, I have followed this story for quite a while, and this special on Netflix brought to light some of the other things that I didn't know about this story before. So then I went on my I don't use TikTok a lot, but like searching it into Reddit or Twitter, and like there's a lot of people who are like, wait a second, does this mean this? Like, does that FBI agent have something to do with it? Right? What are the coincidences that this guy was dating, you know, so and so? I don't want to give it away for people who haven't watched it yet, but would definitely recommend for especially true crime thing. But it is interesting. It's a true story.
I like the format of it as well, with episode 1 from like the boyfriend's perspective, episode 2 from the girl's perspective, and because even during that, you're watching episode 1, like I didn't know the story, but I'm going like, is this guy? I'm guilty.
I watch so much 2020 and true crime at work that I can get super into it, and then I start like going down my rabbit holes. But another one that I'm waiting for Netflix to put out a series on, because it was on 2020 a while ago, about this like famous cyclist, like yoga teacher who like gets caught for killing and then like dips to like Colombia or Costa Rica and is on the run, and then eventually it's the same thing, like uses the app Strava to document her workouts.
Right.
And it pings Costa Rica. They're like, what a fucking dummy. Like, you went through all these things. She got plastic surgery. She dyes her hair. She gets different passports. You used your Strava app? Really? How stupid can you be?
I mean, knock on wood, I'm never going to kill someone.
Yeah,
but I couldn't live with that. Like,
Right.
just the pressure of, you know,
Being
on the run, like always looking over your shoulder. Like, it would kill me. Like, couldn't do it.
How could we podcast about wrestling
I
if
know.
we were on the run? Change our names, start a right-wing podcast. That's my backup plan.
Yeah.
Be
Be
like
one of them snowflakes.
be like-
all right.
Brady Wheels, right-wing show and live from Costa Rica on a beach. Yeah. So there's our true crime segment of the show today. So there, Frank says Braden seems oddly into these stories. All I'm saying, if Davey disappears, I might have some doubts. I don't have it in me to kill someone. Life is too precious.
Well, shall we go into the big news?
Yeah, I will quickly throw out some plugs here I mentioned we're going live after Vengeance Day in a few weekends on a Sunday. So tune in for that. We won't be going live during the day on that. We'll be going after the show. The next few Tuesdays, obviously going live for upNXT, but we also have a new What Up Doe, I think, coming out this week with B and Siino going through some Rumble predictions. I believe Siino and Frank are going to the Rumble.
Yeah.
So I know that he'll be excited about that. So check out a What Up Doe live, free, not live, but free on this feed in the next few week or so. This week, the following week, I think I'm doing a detox with Jordan, again, free on here. So I'll be putting up a Facebook thread for some questions. Ask us anything on that show and give us some topics to talk about. But then over on our Patreon, we put out a bunch of shows. We had Siino joining us with WH Park for Howard the Duck.
Oh, yes.
Marvel Cinematic Universe reviews come true as we look at the first ever, and thankfully it wasn't the last ever Marvel movie, but you couldn't blame them if it was, because it's a bad movie.
It was a while until they made one again.
They were like, and like Blade, we got to get him on for Blade next, because that's the next one, which I fucking love that movie. So
when was that out?
97? 98. Okay.
Yeah, so you're talking like 12 years between.
Until they were
unless there's one I'm missing in between.
No, I think we decided that was it. They did not make a movie after that. Yeah. So Howard the Duck, Siino, WH. It was a hilarious show, if I might add. So check that out if you're into that sort of thing. And then if you're into more of the wrestling, we did our profile on the Von Erichs, which was fantastic. We dive into the whole career and history of the Von Erich curse and the Iron Claw and Dark Side of the Ring. So we're pretty proud of that one. So check that out as well as our Arrival review. And then this week, we are looking at a Royal Rumble. The fans have hijacked this vote. Do we just do Ready to Rumble? I wasn't ready to do Ready to Rumble yet.
I don't know.
Like, I want to do that review, but we've kind of been
I like doing a
Rumble
review because it's fun.
So is this the first time we just tell our voters?
But I also don't know how much I really
stop the votes.
I don't know how
stop
much
the votes.
I really want to look at Royal Rumble 1991 either.
Is that what's winning?
That's what's winning.
Behind Ready to Rumble?
Is that the one with fuck? Like, I can't even think of 91.
91 has the cool artwork. I know that. The year I was born, 1991.
It's got, Ted DiBiase and Virgil versus Dusty and Dustin.
Why are you
Mountie
picking
versus Coco Beware?
Should we just stop the vote? Count the votes. Stop them and just
stop it and do what?
And pick our own. Pick the 2004.
2004? Nah.
1991 might be it then.
2001's good. I like 01.
We're just gonna screw our voters because you hijacked the vote. As much as, trust me, I love Ready to Rumble, but we're kind of waiting on that one.
What do we think in the YouTube room? What should we do?
What should we do in this? We usually let our listeners just vote, but you all voted for Ready to Rumble,
which isn't a Rumble.
Rumble movie at all.
It's not even WWF.
No, it's super W. I love it. I have the DVD still. Don't get me wrong. I probably still know most of the majority.
I feel
of the
that
lines.
would be more a War Games time, wouldn't it? Triple Cage.
Have you ever seen it?
Years ago.
Okay,
I can't.
I'm sure really I haven't watched it, and I haven't watched it in possibly 10 years. But I do love this movie. But I want to watch a Royal Rumble. So Royal Rumble review.
Do we reopen the votes? Reveal on Tuesday?
Closed. Take that down and put up just Royal Rumble.
Should I do a Twitter vote, maybe?
Yeah.
Between I guess we got to put 91 on there.
2000. Oh, a few people in the YouTube chat saying 2002 because of Maven. Maybe you guys should vote 2002 instead of voting for Ready to Rumble. Because I saw you guys both vote for.
Let's put it on the X. All right.
Wow, just pretend the Facebook one never
Right.
happened.
So I'm gonna You pick
2002.
You pick 2002.
Yeah.
I'll pick 2001.
Okay.
I guess we got to put 91 in there to be fair.
2004.
And I don't really want to do.
Have we done 2005? My favorite year of professional wrestling. I can tell you the card.
We've only done 2 Royal Rumbles.
Really?
And it was 95 and 2000 off the top of my head.
I can tell you 2005, 2006 is pretty good. I don't know. What do you think? Is there one with Punk? What's the one with Punk where he's like Jesus in it? Like he's like eliminates everyone and then
when he's in
cuts
the
promos and then eliminates
Nexus.
Or no, it's the straight edge.
The new Nexus.
Oh, yeah.
Punk.
Favorite Rumble moments. You see, WWE put a tweet out, and they didn't include Edge in the returns. They were like top 10, whatever, and everyone's replies were like, "Come on, like I know he just dipped on you guys, but like don't pretend like it didn't happen," because that was one of the biggest ones. Do we get any big ones this year? I guess we'll talk about that on Tuesday. 2011 was the new Nexus, says Frank.
Okay, so I'm gonna put 91, 2001, 2002. And 2011. Does that sound good?
2001.
So 91, because that's winning the actual Royal Rumbles, but I think is also a bit of a gag.
Okay.
2001.
Yeah.
2002, 2011.
Okay.
And I'll keep it open for
2010 was the one Punk. Yeah, add 2010.
Which one's 10?
Get rid of 2011. Add
Oh, is that the one? I thought 2011 was the one where.
It's funny though. Does anyone else like? I know around this time.
Which one's 2010?
2010 apparently is the one with Punk cutting all the promos that I was talking about.
Okay.
I don't know who won it. I'm sure Frank knows off trivia, but yeah.
Okay, 91, 01, 02, 2010. The voting's open for 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Well, we'll reveal it at the end of the show.
Go vote now if you're in the YouTube chat right now. Is the only way. Should I vote? Fuck.
What do you want to do?
No, I'm going to keep my cards close to my chest here and vote. Which Royal Rumble pay-per-view are we reviewing this week? 1991, 2001, 2002, 2010. Fuck.
All right.
I'm not voting. I can't.
We'll do
this.
Royal Rumble at some point. You can't do it.
I pick a few of them. Wow.
11 was the 40-man Rumble with Del Rio.
Oh,
Yeah,
get rid of that
yeah,
one. No.
that's
Absolutely not watching that one. Fuck
Okay.
that. Okay. Well, anyone in the chat now is the only people. Where's the poll? On Twitter, Frank. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Did I plug everything? Patreon.com/Poisonrana. $5.
Top-tees.com.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still waiting on my hoodie, Dickie.
Hey.
What the hell, man? No, I'm just joking. I got my sweet hat though, and I know Dickie's working hard on adding a whole bunch of different podcasts and all sorts of stuff over on chop-tees.com. So go check it out and support your boys. Buy a Poisonrana hoodie, a t-shirt, a hat, a toque, as we call them here.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's your last call. There's only a week or so left to buy the Detox pink trucker hat and tie-dye shirt. So get your orders in. And because I don't know if he got a cease and desist, but he's just being smart. And limited edition Okada In and Out merch will be going away. So please buy it or forever hold your peace because Okada's making $1 million moves. He makes it rain as he even got it trademarked.
What? Rainmaker?
Yeah.
Nice. Good lad.
Yeah. I wonder if he'd enjoy our Rainmaker drink.
I wonder who owns the song. I imagine New Japan.
They own it for sure. Yeah. Oh, true. His theme is pretty fucking sick.
As long as it gets the coin flip.
The coin flip. Yeah. That's what really,
great.
Yeah.
So shall we go into it?
I think so.
So this week, was it Thursday? We were at Demand Lucha, weren't we, when the news broke? Because New Japan announced that Kazuchika Okada is leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, we were watching wrestling live, and then I'm just kind of like, I think videos of what was happening in the match, and then see my Twitter is kind of going wild. I look at it, and it's like, wait, what? New Japan announces that Okada has left. And I'm like, Davie, Okada's gone from New Japan. And you're like, what? And then you just see like a sea of people kind of like at the wrestling show, like going on their phones. Yeah, they're like, wait, what's going on? And it's like, oh man, it's like the president was shot. Everyone in the wrestling world is like, what? What do you mean? So yeah, this is pretty crazy. So New Japan superstar, the flag bearer, the guy,
the top guy,
yeah, essentially of New Japan, announcing that he's gone. And I loved Tanahashi's statement that he said there will be no more rain, but
where at the end of rain there's a rainbow.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah.
Just bringing a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
So they've announced that Tanahashi versus Okada is going to take place in a couple of weeks now in February. Shout out to our friend Daniel Lloyd, who bought tickets for that show because he's going to be going to Taylor Swift at the Tokyo Dome around the same time. And then I was like, oh yeah, you're seeing Tana versus Okada last time ever. And he didn't know that had been announced.
Wow.
And today he messaged me, oh, I just got what you meant. Holy shit. What the fuck? So yeah, I hope Daniel sends us a live report of that event, because that's also Zach versus Dragon 2. Danielson.
Okay.
So I'm like, dude, that's a
huge.
Sick card already.
Yeah.
So definitely we'll be checking that out.
Are you surprised?
Yes. Yeah. When there was news, like a month or so ago, there was all these rumblings. Everyone kept saying, oh, these Nakamura promos, he's talking about the Rainmaker and Chaos and whatever. I was like, like it'd be interesting, but no, like he's the guy. He makes the most money over there. They pay him the most. He's the fucking draw over there. And I know they're in this mode of trying to like hype up their new guys, but they haven't necessarily been doing a fantastic job of that. And now you've let him go. He's gone.
I'm not surprised. Like it's a weird one. It's huge news, and it's like, wow, when I heard it, but I'm not really surprised. He's felt a bit stagnant there for a while, I think. Still an incredible wrestler, but his most interesting matches for me have been against people outside the company, have been the Danielson and the Mia.
A year ago today, the Kiyomiya stuff that like went viral everywhere.
Which again, they never really fully capitalized on it.
No, they didn't.
He had this kind of cool gimmick where he seemed to be, like this pissed off veteran, like beating up the young guys, but that never really went anywhere either. And you're going to get a great match out of Okada, but we've seen everything. And I don't think, David Finlay is it to be going up against him.
Yeah.
We've seen the Naito matches so many times. We've seen the Tanahashi matches so many times. And I feel at this stage in his career, it's what's next. He's done everything there is to do there. And so, yeah, I kind of, when the rumors, the news about his contract coming to an end, I think I said it on a show a while ago, like this Mania is crazy. You could potentially have, CM Punk, The Rock. I think I said potentially Austin and Okada, which sounds ridiculous, but I think it's more and more likely.
You could assume that it's Tony Khan that has scooped him up, because Okada's chummy with the Bucks. Okada's chummy with Kenny. He's got the connections with the I forget who it is that like helps manage Osprey now. There's a link of people.
Bloom?
There's a link of people that are linked to all these guys. So something. It makes me think like, okay, I guess that's where it's going. But in the first time, I think ever since AEW's been a thing, the first time I'm like, yeah, but isn't it more interesting if Okada goes to WWE?
Yeah. I don't see him going to AEW.
Yeah, me neither.
For me, I think that's a lateral move. New Japan would have offered him a raise, I'd imagine. I imagine he's on good money there. I doubt they can match what Tony Khan would offer.
Yeah.
So there is that. But I think it's a lateral move. Like, he's faced everyone of interest there.
Already there, yeah.
All of them would be a rematch. And you think back to the two matches he's had this year, the Danielson one and the Osprey one. Both had a sense of finality to it. You know, the Danielson match ended and they both like did the sign of respect. They were on their knees. They bowed to each other. That kind of felt like an end to that. We were like, yeah, it's one apiece. You could do a rubber match, but wouldn't you keep a bit of animosity there if you were going that way? It felt kind of finite having that moment. And the Ospreay Okada match, where it was kind of being billed as the final time because we knew Ospreay was leaving, and you had that moment at the end. Okada must have known at that point that he wasn't sticking around, and they had a pretty felt genuinely emotional moment. If he's going to see him in a month's time, with AEW, it doesn't make sense. Like, we've seen Kenny Okada, we've seen Ospreay Okada, we've seen Danielson Okada, we've seen Jericho Okada. Like, we've seen it all there. Whereas I think there's also, you've got AEW doing Wembley, but isn't the attraction of a WrestleMania? Like, the football stadiums are bigger than the Tokyo Dome, you know? Like, they sell out those things. Isn't that something you'd want to do? Yeah. And I don't think, Wembley was fantastic last year, but the spectacle of it, I don't think matches, production-wise, and that what WWE delivers with a WrestleMania.
If this was 5 years ago, 3 years ago, even last year, really, you'd be like, no, it's a no-brainer. This guy 100%. Would not go to WWE. But it's completely changed. Triple H is running the show.
The fact that Triple H has done a great job rehabbing Nakamura in the last year. And unfortunately, it's too little too late. And that's not Triple H's fault. You saw how he presented Nakamura in NXT. He wanted this guy to be, but as long as Vince is in charge, it's unlikely that's going to happen. The little chaos name drops. I feel like this Nakamura thing could be a way of being like, look, this is how we'll present you. You've at the moment in WWE, you've got an Austrian whose first language isn't English, is your longest reigning Intercontinental champion. One of your women's champions is Japanese. Your other women's champion's Australian, not American. It's such a different picture now than it was years ago, where you'd never see someone who wasn't American or Canadian be the champ, really. And I think if Okada comes in, we saw how they presented Cody when he came back. Yeah. Triple H will know. Triple H is a wrestling fan and nerd as well. He knows what a big deal Okada is. Vince probably doesn't, but Triple H and Shawn Michaels do. Right. I think they treat him like an absolute star. And I'd see him maybe do a similar thing as they did to Cody, but with, I'd say, Gunther. Who else can you have? If you don't know who he is, you would know who he is after a Gunther match. You have Gunther do an open challenge. I've ran through everyone. I'm undefeated. I'm doing an open challenge at WrestleMania. You hear the coin flip. Okada comes out. Huge entrance. Great gear. Fancy new music.
Long boys?
You're in front of a crowd where people are going to know who he is as well. Philly anyway is a smart crowd, but you get all the travelers and things. It would be a huge moment off the bat. And if you don't know who he is by then, you have him take the IC title off of Gunther, and in an incredible match, that match would be awesome.
There's a few options for him there.
Right away, I think you've made, you've not made a star, you've presented an already top star,
Yeah, Triple H running the show makes me definitely a lot more interested in the future of these big spectacles, like a WrestleMania. This guy will be treated like an absolute star. So I'd say I am more interested in Okada going to WWE, simply because if he's treated like a spectacle, he'll be used in these big matches. He's not going to,
Okada Logan Paul, Okada Dominic Mysterio, Okada Lexis King, the options there.
Yeah, or he goes to GCW and we get Okada Nick Gage, Okada Trey Baxter. There's the possibilities. I do think that it's a little bit more interesting with him going to WWE, because easily you go, oh, well, Cody doesn't have anything to do this WrestleMania. There's a WrestleMania match, Cody versus Okada, right? Okada versus Nakamura. You could, this whole storyline of Nakamura talking to himself could just be leading to this match, right?
Yeah.
Like that's still a possibility. You mentioned Gunther. There is some big things.
Cody as well. You can almost do the Cena thing with him, where you know that year where he was trying different ways to get into WrestleMania.
Right.
You know, like he doesn't win the Rumble, he doesn't win Elimination Chamber, and he's like
in the crowd.
What have I got?
Yeah.
And you've
Never
got
forget.
Okada. Like there's so many good options, but also, you know, going to the CM Punk Okada match that was teased for one of the Forbidden Doors we never got.
Yeah.
But
But the thing is, like, again, we're recording this January 21st, and, you know, his contract technically ends 2 days after the Rumble. So does that mean he can't show up in the Rumble, right?
who knows? I mean, could WWE, we've seen WWE try, like they're trying to get a foot in Japan at the moment, right? They've been trying with the with All Japan. You just had Charlie Dempsey go over there. The whole global localization thing that Triple H has always been about, you know, trying to have different territories. Could having an Okada open up a potential working relationship with New Japan? He's his dates, right? So basically, 1st of February, he could be signed with WWE and be fulfilling these extra commitments with New Japan.
Right.
Could you have an agreement where, well, we're going to let him finish those 3 dates if you let us have him on the 27th
for the Rumble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, anything's possible. It's just whether people in the past, aka Vince, wouldn't want to do that stuff. I think there's so much more opportunity now to do stuff like that.
Yeah. And I'm just like, as much as I definitely think AEW is going to pick up again in 2024, I think Tony's going to find a stride. But in a weird way, it sounds like Tony's under the assumption he's got him. And like they do have him because he I haven't said this in a while, but he's just going to go be all elite with his friends. Because like, it seems like he's got a lot of his friends over there. So like, I wouldn't be shocked.
I don't know. Like, I feel Okada's more driven than that.
You would think so, but like,
you know, I mean, the advantages of being in AEW are Tony Khan would probably let him live in Japan.
Yes.
And come back and forth. I don't know where, obviously he'd have great matches, but I don't know where he slots in there. It's so bloated, you know?
Yeah.
And WWE's relatively bloated too,
yeah.
But you've got like 2 main shows on the go as well. And I don't know. I would put my money on WWE. I think that is way more attractive. If you want to really prove yourself as the best in the world,
right?
I think you've got to go there. I think going to AEW is just like a lateral move.
I could see it either way, but I think, like I said, first time ever, I'm like, you know what? Actually, this would make a lot more sense if you just went to WWE, because there is some big dream matches that they would save for these big stadium shows, your WrestleManias, your SummerSlams, whatever. They could use him sparingly and pay him a lot. Like he could be a special attraction because, you know, right off the bat, there is half the audience who wouldn't know who this guy is, would not understand, but eventually they would, and they would catch on that this guy's awesome. But yeah, you kind of said like the dream matches in WWE, there's so many more fresher options there. As a fan, you want to see those.
I think as well, the Cody return was eye-opening because, yes, people knew who Cody Rhodes was because his last stint with WWE. But if you are one of these people that doesn't know what's going on outside WWE, which we're talking about these people for Okada,
yeah,
he was Stardust.
Right.
He was a jobber when he left. Why is he now coming in like
all hype
against Seth Rollins? And you saw the reaction and everything. So I feel enough people would be educated, and if you're not, you'd soon like know who he is.
But I am genuinely shocked New Japan let that go, and that's what makes me think it isn't AEW, because if it was, you could have just kept
you wouldn't have had a statement like that.
They wouldn't have been like, wow, this guy fucking left, this guy's leaving. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah,
this was a message to the fans, like, he's leaving us.
Yeah,
he's leaving you. Look at that. Because they're under the assumption that he's not doing this double AEW New Japan.
I also feel AEW getting Ospreay, I think, is going to make WWE more gung-ho getting Okada.
And I mean,
there were bids there for Ospreay and WWE too.
As much as it'd be sick for like Okada versus Kenny one more time at Wembley or Ospreay or whatever. Like, I just think it would make more sense for him to go. Something that I thought was funny on social media was fans, not of Okada, but of his wife, who were like, no, she can't move to the US. What do you mean? Like, and I'm like, what does she even do? I'm like, oh, Suzuko Mimori, which I'm like, okay, apparently she's an actress and a singer. And I saw this online, and once I put that into my Twitter, people were like, no, this would be awful if she moves to the US. And I'm like, well, maybe he wouldn't like do that. They just had a kid.
Go to Hollywood. Try and get a job there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I actually, also think this is for New Japan. Like, you've lost a top guy, which is a blow, but I often find, when, your back's against the wall.
When the chips are down.
Yeah, that's when you now have to take a gamble. You've got to go with a Yota Tsuji or Shota Umino. You've got to do that. And I think the problem is with when we've seen it in the past with, I'd say, Naito, Sanada, and Evil are the three in the last, 3 or 4 years who they've tried to elevate to that main event picture where they weren't there before. It was too late. That there was already stink on them, And I don't think either of the three I mentioned are particularly exciting wrestlers either. But what worked with Okada was he came back from excursion, and it was pretty immediate that they just went with this guy, And I think if you wait 3 years with your current, the Three Musketeers they're calling them or whatever, if you wait a few more years before you push them to that level, I think people see them at a level and don't necessarily buy them as a main eventer. So I think you've got to pull the trigger now with multiple people and it will take maybe a bit of time. Like it's like rebuilding a team, you lose your star player or a few star players go away. It's right. Well, we're going to do a 3-year plan. We're going to focus on these youngsters. And in 3 years time, hopefully we'll be going for championships. And I think that's where they are now. And I think they will be better because of it, because how often have we said, oh, cool. Like, okay, it's Okada Naito. It'd be a good match. I've seen it 67 times.
Yeah, they do need to push other people. Jake in the chat saying, is it time for them to focus on other people? And he brings up Zack Sabre Jr. He's someone we both rave about all the time, that he could easily be one of their big stars over there, and has been kind of just been chilling in the wings and always has good years of wrestling and matches and stuff, but is never treated like one of their guys.
I love Zack Sabre Jr. matches, but I would say the same thing. I think it's a bit too little too late. We've seen him in the mid card for years at this point.
Right.
So I think you need to go with, I'd love to see him have a title run and things like that.
Shingo.
Same with Shingo.
All right. Now's the year. 2024. Ishii. Big Tom needs the strap.
Yeah.
Big Tomohiro Ishii. Give him the strap. One run to make him a transitional champion.
Yeah.
Do the Samoa Joe with him. I don't care. Just give him the strap one time, so that when him and Minoru Suzuki are having beers in 5 to 10 years, and Suzuki just rizzes him and razzes him about we both never won. Tom will be like, I did.
I held it for a day. Won it Wrestle Kingdom, lost it New Year's Dash.
When Evil is like, yeah, I've won the title a few times, he'll be like, God damn it. Yeah. So Ishii, get the strap just one time. I don't care. Make it happen, Tanahashi. Make it fucking happen, President. Oh. But yeah, it is a time for them to focus on other stars. And obviously there was a dark period of New Japan where they were trying to do that, and it took a while to get to the level that they got. And then when they were getting at that level, then you had AJ Styles in there. Then you had Kenny become a star. And then they're still doing the most views they've done in a long time. Yep. And it's because of people like Okada. Okada and the Elite are the reason Madison Square Garden sold out.
Yeah.
And Okada headlined that. That was their he was their guy. So it definitely is wow, they're really shaking things up. They have to, because what other option do they have? They lost Okada. So in a way, I am looking forward. But watching Wrestle Kingdom this year, I was like, man, there was some good stuff. But the best stuff I watched was all their guys who were leaving. So now you're left with David Finlay and, you know, some of these new people. Like, yeah, it's going to be sink or swim. And hopefully
You've
they
also
figure it
got,
out.
who is it that's a free agent? Nakajima? Is it? He's a free agent right now, isn't he?
So he could go to
New Japan.
Yeah.
Big guy, like, immediately things up.
Yeah.
I think it's needed. I think I've grown bored with Okada, Tanahashi, Naito as the top guys there.
Sure.
Like, they put on good stuff, but it's repetitive. So I think it's a good thing for them, and it's going to take time, and they deal with it. We saw how they dealt with it when, you know, they lost Nakamura and AJ Styles in, what was that, 2017?
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, like, that was a huge blow. Lost two of their top guys, and they became an even bigger company after that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I do think the Kenny Omega Okada match was the match that was passed around, like, to every wrestling fan and was talked about so much that then the Jericho match happened. That, like, New Japan were jumping and getting so many new viewers from all these people who were like, yeah, you know what? WWE has been boring me lately. Let me, you know, look outside the box. Definitely, like, opened a lot of eyes. And I think they'll be in the right spot. Like, they do have some talent there that I watch. I'm like, oh, this guy's great. This guy's great. So hopefully this is the year they now have to do it. They have to.
I'd be curious if he came into WWE, what kind of deal it is. Like, is he a Nakamura where he's just doing weekly TV
and then surfing?
Or do they give him more of like a sort of Brock contract?
I think it's that, man. I can't see this guy wrestling on Raw and SmackDown.
I think that would be something Triple H would be more willing to do than a Vince. Like, Vince gives those contracts to his legends of the past. He'll give it to The Rock. He'll give it to Brock. He'll give it to Punk, Cena, Taker. He wouldn't take that gamble with an unknown to him.
Right.
I think Triple H would do it. Be like, yeah, like, you can, like, we'll have you in Florida for this, like, month or two, and then you can go home for a month or so and rest up.
Fucking Okada in the PC.
Yeah.
Okada in NXT. Fuck's sake.
Okada Brooks Jensen.
I was at the NXT taping all these years ago when it's the debut of Nakamura before the match, where it's like on a cell phone or something. Right. It was really weird. And I was like, that's how you're fucking bringing him in? I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then the first thought is like, you're bringing Nakamura in to NXT? I'm like, all right, you know.
NXT was a different thing then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I was at his debut.
Yeah, with that match with Sammy.
Match,
it's good. But Okada coming in like that could be good. So let us know what you think. You think he's going to AEW, WWE? I guess we'll find out in a few weeks.
That would be a fun show. Best match ever debut matches.
Yeah. Nakamura. Nakamura did that match and then did nothing else after for me. Really.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah.
I can't stress.
I enjoy the character now.
Yeah. I can't stress that people were like, "Oh, his match with Seth, it was great this year." I was like, "You mean the one with like the 5 mattresses in it?" No, I did not like that match as much as people liked it. But I don't think he's really done it for me since that match. And watching that match back, wrestling's moved on from that match. So like, yeah, he's been coasting. Maybe that's why Okada's going to WWE. You have Nakamura in his ear being like, "Bro, I get paid so much I get paid more than you. I don't have to get hit in the face. I don't have to do all these crazy things you're doing. I go surfing. I don't even have to be there. I'm in catering sometimes. Like, bro, come over."
Like the thought of In-N-Out Burger, like,
I can get that whenever I want. You mean to tell me I could go to
like,
Disney
only
World?
On the West Coast, though. All right, just book me those dates.
Okada's like, fuck, I just want to go to Disney World, man. Let me go to Florida. Let me go to Cali. Yeah, exactly. So I do think he's going to the Fed.
Right.
See some dream matches. And we're going to Mania. You could just book Okada versus The Rock for whatever reason you want. Imagine the same show where Okada and The Rock
yeah,
on it. That's fucked. Triple H, give him the
I'm looking forward to the Rainmaker counter into the RKO.
Nice.
It'd be pretty nice, I think.
Yeah. There's a few Okada versus a lot of people. Like, definitely interesting.
How long will he be in the company before he does a Poison Mist?
Oh God. Yeah. I think Triple H knows how to handle foreign talent, but Yeah, subtitles can be your friend, people.
You've got 12 minutes left on the vote, guys. Get on to X.
What's never mind.
I'll just wait for the results.
Yeah, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
So there you go. We're talking Okada. That's the big news in wrestling this week with him leaving New Japan, which is quite shocking. I will be checking out his final matches as well as the Ospreay match.
The cage match.
Yeah, the War Cage.
Yeah.
Don't call it War Games, but it kind of
games.
is kind of like the Collision match next week.
Yeah.
Don't call it War Games, but it's a cage match and it's elimination for some reason.
Well, War Games isn't elimination.
Yeah, true.
War Games grows. This decreases.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. It should be good. It's actually, like normally Wrestle Kingdom ends, I'm kind of checked out until G1. Whereas this New Beginning stuff, like there's some stuff that definitely has my interest.
I saw something that caught my eye. I haven't checked out Godzilla's show on Apple TV, the Monarch show with Kurt Russell and his kid, but I did see that Tsuji made an appearance. However, the internet was fast to reveal that it wasn't Yoda, it was his brother. From that one angle he did where his twin brother like attacked someone.
Right.
He's actually an actor and a stunt double and makes a cameo in this Monarch, whatever show it is. I'm behind. I know WH was telling me the other day that it was pretty good. So, because I was like, wait, what? New Japan stars are in a Godzilla show? It's like, no, it's actually his twin brother. I'm like, oh, still cool. But
damn.
Yeah. So
does he have the long hair and everything?
He does. Yeah. He looks like he's a bartender in it or whatever. So pretty cool.
Oh, I did see the picture.
Yeah. I was like,
I
I thought it was him. And then the internet was like, whoa, hold on a second. So what else in WWE while we're kind of on that topic? Because again, the Royal Rumble is next Saturday.
Well, we talked about the promo segment last week, but now Butch has finally ditched Butch.
Finally.
And he is Pete Dunne. I loved Pretty Deadly's reaction to it. It reminded me of, Triple H Mankind in like end of 99, beginning of 2000.
Feud, yeah.
Where Mankind's like, you're not facing Mankind, you're facing this man, Cactus Jack. And Trish is like, fuck, I'm not ready for Cactus Jack.
Yeah. That doesn't really name Butch the wrestler. It's a fucking wrestling name. But,
he had a wrestler called Butch. He was a bushwhacker.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. It's just strange. Like Pete Dunne, yeah, it sounds like a good name. The Bruiserweight, that's a pretty good wrestling name as well. Name doesn't obviously mean everything, but you kind of like the guy already made a name for himself in NXT and NXT UK. Like for those that did watch him in either of those shows, like you became a fan of him because of his wrestling and how good he was. And to just call him Butch and make him act like a dog was very strange. You had Mansoor doing an interview this week saying that Vince was like adamant that Butch's character wasn't a wrestler, that he was legit a fucking dog. Like, no, you're not going to wrestle, but you're always trying to scrappy do and fight and everything. It's like the guy who is a good wrestler, his gimmick is not to actually wrestle. Like, what the fuck? So very strange. Happy that this is back. I'm very excited to see what they do. I do think that the team of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate off the cuff, like right away going with the British strong style, will get some fans.
And it's interesting that WWE seem to have moved away from trademarking names again. Like Tyler Bate got moved up as Tyler Bate.
Right.
Butch is back to being Pete Dunne, which is both their like
legal
their names they've been using. So it's that's interesting because it seemed to be a Nick Khan thing as well as a Vince thing about, trademarking.
Yeah, they want to make money off you. Yeah.
And moving away from that for the betterment of the product. I think there are people you can repackage and rename. You're absolutely not going to rename Okada if he does come in. Like there's...
Yeah, I think back to Samoa Joe coming into NXT, the Joe deal. And like he came in there. Who kid call him? Yeah, they're not going to be like, yeah, that Hawaiian dude.
Joey Samoa.
Yeah, it's Samoa. I'm Samoa Joe. That's my name. Like, that's it. And yeah, it makes sense.
They also name dropped Regal again,
right?
In the little promo that wasn't on TV, but they put on the website on Twitter. So I wonder if we're gearing for Regal kind of managing these two.
That'd be pretty sweet.
I'd be down for.
Just add his kid, eventually, and then you get the no quarter catch crew with Regal, and that's like the BCC all over again. Except he wants to be there.
Yeah.
Seemed like, looking back, what was the reason Regal left? Was it Punk? Was it? What was it?
He just wanted to be close to his kid.
Was that it? I don't know, man. Yeah. Frank in the chat says that Pete Dunne's actual legal name is Pete England, which we have talked about before.
Right, yeah.
Also a great wrestling name.
Yeah, like I imagine Regal left because Triple H got back in power, didn't he?
He was like, "Oh, I'm going back."
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Pete Dunne is back. He got his name. That's pretty great. I saw Roman Reigns posting a photo on social media with one of his cousins. So if you ever think there's not enough people in the bloodline for years to come, trust me, there is.
Yeah,
they've got brothers and cousins and sisters and you name it.
Yeah, definitely. We've got this 4-way coming up at the Rumble, which I think will be a fun match. I've enjoyed the kind of car crash 4-ways they've done in the past, but there's no question of who's winning this thing.
Exactly.
You know, but I do find it interesting the teases between Roman and Nick Aldis. Now, Nick Aldis isn't someone I'm particularly a fan of in ring, but they're hitting it pretty heavy, like the animosity between them two, and Aldis putting him in this match, and Roman saying he's not signing and then doing the disrespect, like dropping it on the floor and things. So I definitely think that is a match we are getting in the next year.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Something about wrestling, Triple H taking over with WWE, I thought we'd get less of like authority type things. And I know he's coming in as a baby face and setting this up, but like, I don't care for it anymore. I've definitely left that. I know he's good talking. I don't care to see the match.
I don't care for the match, but I do think we're getting it. I've liked both him and Adam Pearce as authority figures. I don't think they're overbearing. They feel more like Regal was in NXT, rather than, when we've had those heel general managers who are all over the show. I haven't minded the two like babyface general managers because I don't think it's too heavy-handed, but I think, like we mentioned, this reign could continue after Mania, and that's definitely for like a BC show is something you could go with. I think.
Something in England, possibly,
maybe.
Right? But personally, it doesn't really do anything for me. I don't really care about the match, and even the promo stuff that I have watched, I'm like he's got a few other things on his mind. He's got the Fatal 4-Way Mania. I don't know. Something I'm like, do we really need to do that right now? But then to be completely fair, is on the other side is AEW will not use any authority figure and then have Tony Schiavone be like, oh, Tony Khan just told me this. Like, is that any better? Because sometimes
I don't mind having someone who's like, booking the matches and kind of, it's almost like a narrator in a way. You can fill in those gaps, why certain things are happening, and
because I don't necessarily care too much for the Adam Pearce or what we've seen with Aldis, but like my favorite, it was always like Steph on SmackDown when she's like kind of a baby face, but at the same time like kind of a heel, but she'd be like the most fair. Like, you know what? You beat that guy up and attacked him. He's going to face you. You're going to face him now. You're going to title in this. I thought that kind of, like you said, more of a putting the story together because it is a TV show. You think when you go to the indies and stuff like that, there sometimes is even a figure there being like, hey, we got this match and stuff. So sometimes I'm like, this guy's just came to WWE, Nick Aldis, and we're already like, oh, what if we have a match against Roman? Why? There's been fucking hundreds of wrestlers who've been wrestling in WWE who should get a title shot before this guy.
Yeah, for me, I don't like Aldis is still pretty young. I can't see him coming into this company just as a producer at this point. I have watched his wrestling before. We have watched his wrestling before. It's not particularly that exciting. No, I agree. I'm not into his wrestling. I don't see him as someone who's hung up his boots. And I think, this is a way you could transition him into a wrestler. Not being top of the card the whole time, but, having this boil to a point with Roman where he's going to put the boots back on and ditch the suit and have a match. And then you have him as a wrestler after that. I don't know. It kind of seems that's where it's going. Perhaps. And then he can be on Cody's Team Nightmare Factory and all that stuff with QT. I mean, true. Yeah, that is a thing. Right? Like that, there's history with him. You need Cody to have backup this time round against Solo Roman and his cousins. Yeah. His other cousins and his third cousins. Yeah. What else was this week? I think that's everything that kind of
Big
came to mind.
week,
You did talk a bit about Raw on Tuesday.
Yeah, I guess Seth Rollins, this injury, we'll find
Yeah.
out tomorrow of what really is going on. Hopefully he can still wrestle at WrestleMania. That's the big one. You know, hopefully it's nothing too serious. Tony Khan just putting this hex into the world with his Twitter, and I blame him for this whole thing.
It's unfortunate, isn't it? I haven't really looked at much on Twitter. I don't know if there has been like hate towards Jinder about this, but it's so like obviously an injury is unfortunate whenever, but the fact that this match was why the fuck Jinder and all this going into it, it wasn't a good match. Jinder is not very good.
No,
but yeah, it is unfortunate. But yeah, hopefully it's better than worse.
We'll talk about it on Tuesday of what happens, because like hopefully it's a work, or he's not that injured, or this and that, and I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, don't hinder the Jinder. You know what match was good though? The Hook match.
Should we go into AEW? Yeah.
As much as WWE's been on a tear, I think Tony's gotta be stepping it up, and he has been. So AEW Dynamite from this week was pretty good, and kind of catching up on all the other stuff like Collision, and the rankings are back. You know, things are going to be different in 2024 for AEW, and I'm kind of liking it. Maybe QT Marshall and CM Punk were the reason I didn't watch Collision. Now that they're gone, maybe I'm like, this show's pretty good. There's some good matches. There's some good things being pushed forward. I'm not quite sure, but whatever it is, like going forward, this week's at Dynamite really hit for me. I really liked a lot of the stuff on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kicked things off pretty well with Christian Cage and Dustin Rhodes. I thought had a hell of a match to start with.
You know what? Yeah, all the flowers to Dustin, because I'll tell you, I was chilling, I was watching. I wasn't here, but I was watching, and I was watching live, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, I gotta watch Gold Dust. I'm like, I'm in my head, I'm like, should I just watch this later? Like, maybe I'll just like watch something else or do something else right now. And I was like, no, let me have a smoke. I'll put it on. And then like as the match started going on, I was like, okay, Christian from WWF 1999 and Goldust from WWF 1999, and here they are, like easily like 50-year-olds plus.
Yeah.
And I thought they would look pretty good.
I think they're both great. I think Dustin is
good.
so good. Like
until the end of the match, something definitely happened in this match. I didn't hear this being talked about anywhere as much, but I think he got like hurt or something, because I'd say he looked so good in the match. Right at the end in the finish, I don't know if he got like knocked out. It looked like Christian had to like walk him through the finish.
Oh, the second unpredictable.
Yeah, but I think he like hit his head off something. I didn't rewatch it back today, but when I watched it on I was like, man, on Wednesday, I was like, man, did he get hurt? Because it looked like Christian was kind of explaining to him like what we're going to do and everything. But besides the fact, Dustin definitely looked good. It's a shame he's in AEW when he could be the backup for Cody that he needs over in WWE. But
I could see him back there.
Yeah, retire there. Get your Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
He's been great though. Like really since, I mean, the whole him coming back to WWE for the Rhodes Brothers thing was what, 2013, I'd like to say.
Over 10 years ago.
Over 10 years ago. And that felt like him coming back for his final run, and was in incredible shape and stuff. Like you gotta give him credit.
It was a good match. Yeah, him and Christian worked really well together, and Christian's just a fantastic heel, like classic wrestling. You just hate this guy. Look, now he's got this kid and the kid's mom. He's delusional. He's insane. Like, yeah, I'm really into that. And I was very surprised at that match and how good Dustin and Christian looked in it. So really got into that. What else happened on this show? There was Evan Bourne challenging Chris Jericho. Wow, it went from 99 WWF to 2010 WWE. In a weird thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was on Rampage.
Was it? Oh, I didn't watch it, but I think he challenged him for this upcoming. I could be wrong.
No, the match has happened.
Oh, the match happened. Oh, okay. Him challenging Jericho, that was funny. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta versus Commander and Penta, and that was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit fed up of these lucha guys with no character.
Right.
We're just with Alex.
Oh, like, you're a lucha star? You're a luchador? You're going to be with Alex.
Hang out with Alex.
Or Jose.
Yeah, I find, like, obviously they do spectacular stuff, but, like, I don't know. I'm kind of just, I've seen it all now. So I need a bit more from these lucha guys and just being lucha guys.
Yeah, definitely. Like, kind of jumping ahead here, but they have announced for this upcoming Dynamite, Hangman versus Penta, which I'm like, holy shit, please. Yeah. In another universe, they'd be having a feud where they would get to a Texas death match where Penta is like underutilized, right?
Honestly, I have no interest. I've liked Penta in the past. He's a good wrestler, but there's nothing there. Hangman's just going to beat him. We'll see 10,000 Zero Miedos in the match.
He's always booked. It was always him or Swerve, who's now been elevated. That were always the fall guys for title contenders. If you ever notice, like the same rotation of dudes would always be the jobbers for these other people. Penta has been this role for a long, long time. I did like the match with Orange and Trent versus these two. I thought it was different having Orange and Trent and also Penta and Commander rather than like the other variation. So I thought it was at least a little fresh, and Trent winning is a cool little touch there. But yeah, I'm always like, man, what could you be doing with some of the other guys? Like they're flashy. The crowds get into their matches because they are doing these spectacular things, but you're always booking them to lose. That like, why would anyone really care about them? So as you kind of said, so as much as I still really enjoy watching them wrestle, I'm like, is there a better utilization of some of these talent? You're bringing in your Vikingos and all these dudes to do these incredible things, and then they're losing.
And they're great for shows like Rampage, which is like you stick around and you see some like spectacular stuff. But it's mainly I assume Phoenix is injured, right?
I can't remember. I feel like I've seen him wrestle
for a while.
Maybe, possibly.
I just feel like Penta is someone I'd like more from. I'd like some sort of evolution of character. Because
he's probably just happy.
The best thing, aside from like the incredible like tag matches, was years ago when he faced Phoenix, and you know he got vicious and was ripping out the mask and all that. That was like, I'd
that's
like
the Penta I want. Yeah, I definitely broken record since AEW has really started is like, hey, where's that guy that I've watched? Like, he's incredible. So maybe he's just kind of happy. He's getting paid and gets to do lucha stuff. What about another tag team that knows Penta? The Young Bucks. Nicholas and Matthew Jackson.
Yes.
With their mustaches and all. Is this a Vince McMahon gimmick?
I think so, maybe.
I kind of liked it, actually. I might be in the minority, but we've been discussing of like, what is the thing? What could they possibly do? Because we've already seen them come out dressed in dyed facial hair and bandanas and crazy outfits and over-the-top wacky comedy type shit. This is the route I'd like them to go down. And for the Sting thing, to tie it in with them somehow cutting a promo on CM Punk. I don't know what they were going off, but
I've seen a couple of times recently where I think Tony Khan's been addressing criticisms through his characters.
Yeah.
We had last week with Samoa Joe saying about a championship committee and all that, and now we've got the ranking system come back. And I think this was, you know, Tony Khan speaking through the Bucks going, we hear you. Like, we're not the product we were when we started. Let's try to go back to that, which is a good thing. I think, you know, things did go different once CM Punk came into the company. And obviously it was great for AEW to have this big star, but I think AEW lost sight of what it was to start with.
Yeah.
And I think that is something where, you know, a Hangman Page refusing to take advice from Punk, it's because the whole culture of this company has been based on doing things differently. You know, you read the Young Bucks book and they say like, oh, everyone told us like, you know, slow down, stop spamming super kicks and things like that. That's a finisher. You shouldn't keep doing that. What got them over? Super kick party, super kicking everyone all the time. It's breaking the mold that and it's not say that these old wrestlers have bad advice, like, but maybe that advice is better for a WWE. We are trying to present a completely different product that goes against these things. So having the like old vet come in going like saying all the lines are like, well, in WWE, this is how we do it. In WWE, this is how we do it. that's not what AEW is. AEW
Right.
isn't WWE. So I think it was a way of Tony Khan like speaking through the Bucks and going, we are trying to get this back on track to what we started off being 5 years ago, which when we were selling out arenas and like we gave the fans who wanted something else a different product, but did it in a way where you're keeping the Young Bucks heel and you're getting your digs in against Punk. I did like it. The thing I didn't like was how it did tie to Sting, because it's like, we need to get out these cancerous old people. Sting isn't one of them. Sting's great. Sting's a great guy, great wrestler, so good in the locker room, great with the kids, but we kind of need to beat him.
Get
anyway.
the fuck out of there. Yeah. I actually really liked it. I think they surprised me. I think if they showed up with the whatever Colt Cabana and Cutler have been doing, I think they would have been like shat on. I'm sure this was shit on too, for sure. And really, that's like the next step of what is the smartest move possible. And I'm as excited to see this match. Like, again, wasn't necessarily what you expected to be announced for the Sting retirement match, but as soon as you go, wait a second, that actually would be pretty good. And I'm looking forward to this match.
I'd like to see them just get a bit more serious and a bit less smarky for this run to kind of make it a little different.
Well, this was week 1, so I mean, I
was like, for me, it was thumbs leaning more up than down with this. It was how they tied it to Sting didn't quite work for me, but yeah, I'm all for that match. I know now they're teasing other options for Sting and Darby.
Right,
this is the match.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they will take the titles off of Big Bill and Ricky Starks before Revolution.
Sting and Darby should,
because they did a video saying about being tag team champions.
They should.
And I think and the Bucks beat Sting and Darby for the titles at Revolution, and then you've got a top act as your champions again.
And then we have I'm Sorry, I Love You.
They've already done that. They've done that so many times.
This time, do it to Rick.
They did it to Daniels, didn't they?
Do it to
They've
Rick.
done it to themselves. Yeah, I don't know. I personally like them to get away from that stuff.
Yeah, we're not going to see any exploding super kicks in this match, I don't think.
No.
But we're going to see some good stuff. I genuinely think it'll be good. And that is a proper Sting send-off with
absolutely.
Darby involved. He's not fighting Darby, but he's with Darby.
No, I think it'll be great.
Yeah, the whole thing sounds great. So definitely looking forward to that. I did enjoy the promo with them. They got the laugh out of me when they're like, "Oh, Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, yes," and then like the Twitter
EVPs here,
EVPs, all that stuff. Yeah, go for it. Why not? Like it's fucking wrestling. Ham it up. And I've always been a fan of the Young Bucks and will continue to. They've got me again where I'm like, okay, week 1, I like this. Mustaches are silly, but I like this. Yeah. And it's with the trend of, okay, what do we do? Well, we changed our facial hair last time. Should we change it again? Yeah, mustaches. It's not the same as Hangman's mustache, who looks like Magnum. He just looks incredible with that thing on his face. He looks like the most manliest man ever. What universe did CM Punk try to step up to this guy? He didn't have the mustache at the time.
Going soft.
Yeah, like what? This guy looks like he'd knock your fucking block off with the mustache. It's a beautiful, beautiful, best mustache in wrestling going right now is Hangman's. No debate about it. But yeah, that was a big part of Dynamite this week. Nicholas and Matthew. What else happened?
We had Bullet Club Gold becoming the new 6-man ROH tag champs.
Right. I mean, I think we can see where this is going.
So I caught Collision as well, and you had basically now the Bang Bang Scissor Gang is a thing. They did their gun scissoring thing. I hope this is leading to title unification.
It definitely is.
We don't need 2 sets of
trios
titles. So I hope that's the way we're going. You've got 6 weeks until Revolution, so you can do
there'll be a team for now. Sell the t-shirts.
A month of this, and then go to unification.
Because I do want a Bang Bang Scissor Gang. There's a few options. You could do the pink Bullet Club with the scissors underneath instead of the guns, right? That's the easy one to go to. But then also, trying to up themselves whenever I walk around or see people wearing the "Ooh, Scissor Me Daddy" shirt. It's a hit. It's instantly wow, that shirt's great. Even if you don't know what the fuck it is. Bang Bang Scissor Gang on
Yeah.
a t-shirt,
It's great.
you might get my money. I'm just saying.
I wonder though if, like, firstly, do you have a heel babyface dynamic in this if you are going to unification? Because I think there is legs in this baby gang. They're getting good reactions. They've got the cool new entrance theme,
music,
and everything. They seem really popular. Like, the crowd were really into them on Collision. Has Acclaimed in this version ran its course a bit, and would a heel turn freshen them up a bit?
I feel like it's gonna be eventually the Bullet Club turn on them, and then that's what sets up the big match, right? Like, so I wouldn't necessarily think the Acclaimed have run its course, because, like I said, I see the shirts in the wild all the time. I'm like, oh shit, okay, like they're popular. They're a popular act, I'd say. And as much as maybe they're not like focused as much, they're still they're part of AEW. That's a popular, you know, mid-card act. So I think there's some juice in the next few weeks of them teaming with the Bullet Club guys, and then something happens, and then it causes them to face at Revolution to put the titles together. So yeah, all our favorite Ring of Honor titles are just getting eaten up.
What else? Deonna Purrazzo defeating Anna Jay and setting up a match down the line with Tony Storm.
Tony Storm making me fucking laugh, calling her some crazy. Tony Storm's character,
punch her in the box.
She gets away with saying some things on TV. Let me tell you, I love it, man. Definitely, as much as I'm like, oh, am I over Timeless? And then she says that kind of shit, like calling Deonna like, I'm gonna punch you in the box. She's saying, you tanned hag,
they
or
give
something.
Her a long leash, don't they?
Oh, I'm really enjoying it. Like, obviously, Purrazzo shouldn't come in and beat Tony, but
no,
like, you think Tony should just drop it to Deonna right away?
I mean, does Tony Storm's character, like, I think it's a big enough character that she doesn't necessarily need the title, although it does seem very soon to like hotshot Deonna, but it's having faith in this women's division that, you know, quite often Tony Khan doesn't know what to do with someone once they, you know, Rio showed up for the last title. Have we seen Rio since she lost that? She's
been wrestling elsewhere.
Yeah, you know, like it's that kind of thing. So I don't know if you go with Deonna or not.
I don't know. She looked good. She sounded better than she sounded. She sounded more like happy, confident, and like sounded good, and wrestling wise too. So I'm looking forward to that match, and I know those two have some history, but I'm definitely waiting out for Jamie Hayter to make her return, and I hope that's Wembley.
We're getting Serena Deeb vignettes as well. Like, she's coming back now. You've got Thunder Rosa wrestled her first singles match on Collision. So I think the women's division's picking up. I've been super impressed with Queen Aminata as well.
Queen Amidala.
Yeah, I think she's been fantastic. And when you hear like she's pretty new to this as well. I think she's someone who, you know, she's getting the Tony Khan goes through his phases. Like, at the moment, it's Brian Keith and Queen Aminata on every show. Like, he had that before with Daniel Garcia when he first came in. And, I'd like to see her progress up the card, because I think she's great.
I mean, like, I could be wrong, but is Sky Blue just always on Collision?
I don't think she was on this.
She wasn't. The streak is broken.
Yeah,
but like, it's always like, and Sky Blue in action. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I think this year the women's division in AEW will take a little bit of a turn.
I hope
for the better.
Jamie's been out for a long time.
I'm hoping, man. Yeah, she was a huge star for them. I think that definitely affected the women's division.
And Britt's missing still.
Britt helps. I wouldn't say necessarily like she was the biggest star they had for the women's, and then now it's
she's hot and cold in ring. She's had some pretty bad matches. I think she's had some pretty great matches as well. But it's her character. She feels like a big part. Like, think during a lot of those like Daily's Place Dynamites where she felt like such a huge star there, having this stuff with Tony Schiavone and that. And I don't know what her status is.
Maybe she's injured
right now. I think so, but hopefully we get her back soon too.
And then the main event from Dynamite this week, which was Samoa Joe, the champion, putting his AEW title on the line against Hook. And this match, fucked. This match was sick.
So
Oh
good.
man, I don't know how many times I've rewatched that table bump, the like STO, the rock bottom turning into
on
the
his head,
Oh my
on his head on the
God,
desk.
I don't know how
in
that
front
guy.
of his dad.
I thought he looked like he died from that spot.
Yeah.
I don't know how that dude got up right in front
And
of
then
his
the
dad.
apron bomb after it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This match was so good, man. I love that they were playing into history with Taz, obviously his fucking kid wrestling this, but then also how he like managed Joe, I think in TNA, right? The history there. I really like this. It was what Jinder and Seth should have been.
I thought this was perfect.
Yeah.
As a first title defense of just showing Joe as this killer, I think Joe's best match in AEW was probably the series with Darby. And I got the same sense. And we've never really seen Hook be a Darby Allin because he's been pretty unstoppable.
He's been
so far. And the only real competitive match he's had was against Jungle Boy in Wembley, which was
Crimea River.
Yeah, and it was a lot of
weapons,
real
glass
stuff. So I thought this was perfect. Hook just like charging at him and this big man just killing him. Obviously, some sort of agreement where let's just hurt each other, because you saw some of Hook's punches and stuff look pretty clean.
Yeah.
And I've seen the criticism about the kick out on one. But if you watch, there's about 5-6 seconds before Joe covers him after the muscle bust.
Right.
He's done, slowly saunters over, gets down on his knees, kick out, which that worked and gave, listen to the crowd. It got a huge reaction.
People were mad about that?
People that probably don't watch AEW and see a GIF and then are like, ugh. I thought this match was everything it needed to be and more. I loved it.
Yeah, over-delivered for
me.
And
the kind of format of, just a, not overstaying its welcome as well. It reminded me of some of the better Brock matches. Brock Danielson, where it's kind of the same thing, where Brock is just killing him and then Danielson gets a bit of offense in and starts coming back and rocks the big guy. And not every title match needs to go 30 plus minutes.
Yeah.
I feel like this was only 12, 15
minutes,
something
maybe?
like that.
Yeah.
No,
really,
it was great.
Really loved it.
It helped Hook. It's elevated Hook.
Oh yeah, he's a badass for taking some of these spots, but also getting his spots in against Joe. And again, I'm just a fan of Joe all these years. Finally, this guy's a world champion and manhandling people. The way he did that STO on the table and then walks away the fucking badass. I've been seeing that GIF used a lot. Oh man, this is instantly snapped back into oh shit, I love AEW. They're great because look at this. They're champions fucking Samoa Joe. How do you not love this shit? So right away, I'm really loved that episode. Even some of the stuff I watched today, trying to catch up, cherry picking here, but Jeff Hardy and Darby Allin, that was pretty good. Obviously, they're going with some sort of heel thing with the Hardys, which I wouldn't say is the best use of them, but whatever.
It's different. It's better than them just doing the nostalgia act on Rampage. It's something different. I don't care about really seeing them at all, to be honest, but I think there's other people I'd focus on. But I thought the match on Rampage, dive into the chair was nuts.
Huh.
Didn't get to the levels of the first one, but still had some pretty nut spots. And I liked how Darby won with a roll up, which is, I think, how Jeff won the first one, right? They did all the crazy stuff, and then it was the jackknife cover.
Yeah.
So
and then Collision, they had FTR and Daniel Garcia taking on.
No, it's Garcia versus Buddy Murphy.
Buddy
Matthews.
But then next week is the cage elimination.
Cage,
which sounds pretty good. I'll have to check it out after watching the Rumble. Obviously, I'm imagining that they don't get a great rating next week. Not that it necessarily I care about it, but
DVRs exist, folks.
Yeah, I know that's going to hurt them because Rumble again is one of the most watched events, and going up against it would suck. But you'll see people in the crowd with their phones out.
Oh yeah,
Because people do that at our bars,
Yeah.
at parties, our watch parties. Some people,
Collision on.
yeah, and I'm not making fun of them for it. It's funny to
Yeah.
me. It's like, wow, you really love wrestling. You're at wrestling and you're still watching wrestling on your phone. This is fucking nuts. So, yeah. So AEW definitely picking up. They've announced a huge Dynamite this week. I mean, just out of nowhere, they're like, hey, that guy on Twitter who makes all those fake matchup cards that at first glance you're like, wait, did they? Oh no, it's Photoshop. It's fake. They finally did one that guy did. This guy was like, wait, I did this like 2 months ago, and now you're actually doing this match? Murder Grandpa versus Edge.
Crazy.
Like what?
Yeah.
Sorry, wait, what? Yeah, crazy.
That's a like Adam Copeland's been doing the Cope Open during. I'm sure it'll show up on Botchamania, but
Yeah.
you know the P&P segments, which if you watch them fight, you
Yeah.
hear commentary just going off.
Yeah, Taz.
One of them's like, oh, and then we've got the Copeland, and just like shit on it, like fucking ridiculous. I laugh.
The Copen challenge?
But yeah, so far we've had, like, it's interesting seeing Edge mix up with some of these guys, but off the bat, Griff Garrison, Lee Moriarty aren't like
Yeah.
Lee Moriarty's good, but it's not really the ones I want. When you think when Danielson came in, I think some of his early Rampage Dynamite matches
Suzuki
were way more interesting. And now we're here, Suzuki. It's just such a, Adam Copeland still feels like such a WWE guy. And just to go for the chop exchange, which I don't think I've really ever seen him do.
Again, Edge being one of my all-time favorites, especially as a kid being here in Toronto. But I'd say he's done a good job of making Adam Copeland feel a little bit different than just Edge. Like he's done that. Like, oh, I'm a bit different, making it a bit more real in some of the things he says and how he treats the character of Adam being a like he's managed to blend a bit. Like they'll promote more Disney and stuff.
Oh,
Percy
yeah,
Jackson.
Percy Pringle. Yeah.
Percy Pringle, yeah, that we've talked about that recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is great. Minoru Suzuki versus Adam Copeland. Yeah, I'm gonna be definitely watching this, being like, this is a video game match.
Just bizarre.
So crazy. So can't wait to see the chopping exchange. Some other things they've announced for this week. We got Trent versus Wardlow. We got Tony Storm and Deanna, a face-to-face interview. We got Jeff Hardy taking on Swerve.
Oh, he's out of the Rampage verse.
So is Swerve the heel or is Jeff the heel? I guess we'll find out when we watch this match. But I'm interested.
Jeff isn't full heel yet, is he? He's still although he did come out and not really Duke.
What a fucking asshole!
Yeah.
Oh, he's heel. If he's not juking, come on. But then also we have Penta versus Hangman, which I'm very excited. So this week's looks good. There's a few other things on it as well. So rankings. I mean, they're coming back. AEW is so back, baby. Suzuki and Edge. Wow, fucking excited. So there we go. That's kind of all the things going on in wrestling. Any other?
I caught Josh Alexander versus Will Ospreay.
Oh, I didn't put that on yet.
Was,
forgot to
fantastic.
watch it.
I think I preferred it to the first one.
Wow.
It was
Okay, I'm gonna have
really
to watch it.
good. Crazy Tiger Driver spot through a table.
I did see that
shit
on
like that. And then Scott D'Amore just with a really emotional. He's great at the Paul Heyman style rally speech, but saying that TNA's back and shit on Bruce Pritchard. He was like, there was a moment where Bruce Pritchard stood in this ring and claimed this place is dead, but we're back and we've got some of the best talents in the world here. And yeah, it was good. I still stand by what we both said last week, where the pay-per-view wasn't the reset I felt it should have been, and
some people thought it was.
You're not always going to get you're not going to have Will Ospreay in this company, but I think you've got to remember, for me, Josh Alexander is one of the best wrestlers in the world as well. And if they can, focus on that sort of stuff and less on Tommy Dreamer, etc. Like it's a good number 3, like for dipping in, and they do produce. You know, you got Speedball in that company as well. But yeah, I thought that match was pretty excellent.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. I saw the gifs today, and I was like, oh, it must have aired already. So I'm gonna have to check it out.
It's on their YouTube for free.
Oh,
as well.
Beautiful! Everyone, go check it out. Definitely support the Canadian boy, Josh Alexander. But maybe we see him be a bit elevated. I know he's been the champion there and stuff, but having these kinds of matches is what makes people go, oh no, he should be your guy. Like him versus Ziggler will be a pay-per-view match in 2024. Should be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or Speedball.
Absolutely.
Or whatever, right. So.
Didn't we kind of mentioned the rankings, but didn't kind of give our thoughts. How do you feel about rankings coming back?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's cool. Like I said, I'm definitely a little overdone with like authority type things and bookers and on-screen characters sometimes if done properly. But I think AEW did a good job of the rankings before, being like, hey, if you're noticing this guy wins a lot, he should probably be the champion. And the storyline of Hangman and Swerve is kind of a good way to bring that ranking system back. Like Swerve should be bringing this up on Wednesday again, as he has been. Like, sorry, I beat you twice. I don't know why you're thinking you're the champion. And Hangman's like, well, Joe attacked me. Yeah, but I beat you twice. So what is your merit to this? And I think that'll help storylines and bit. Again, it's all fixed. So these rankings, you just control what it is.
I'd like to see if there's any difference from how they did it first time round. As I kind of mentioned last week, you do have all these titles, and I would like to see some kind of differentiation between them, whether it's like, you know, international title does not abide by the ranking system, and it's an open challenge title. Yeah, like that, which Orange has been kind of doing. The continental title, you can use a ranking system across ROH, New Japan Strong, and AEW, and that's how you get your different. And then TNT is the tier below. You know, if you've got 20 wins or more, you can challenge for the world title. 10 wins or more, you can challenge for TNT. Just have something to. If you're having rankings, it's like, okay, well, surely the guy challenging for the TNT title has enough wins where he should be going for the world. So I'd like to have it a bit more
tiered or something.
You don't need to like sit the audience down and talk it through, but have something to differentiate everything you got going on, rather than just having, oh, well, we like him, so here's a belt.
They do that too much. There's too much of that. I'll say I caught the last match of Collision as you were watching it today with Danielson. They pinned Ortiz, and then Danielson basically is like, yo, Eddie, fuck that belt. I'm going to take it from you. And then spits in his face and then just goes to the crowd. Hey, how's it going?
Yes.
I started laughing my head off at that. So Danielson is just fucking so unbelievably good. And I'd imagine it's Danielson versus Eddie one more time at the pay-per-view, because like that last match was good. Yeah. I know they're going to fucking murder each other if they do another one. And this man spit in his face and then turned around and was like, hey, kids, how's it? You want to hug? And Eddie's face was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. He got a bum chant over too, I think, in the match. Bro, I'm loving this. I'm excited. Revolution can't come like fast enough, because there's going to be like, oh, wait, we know we should be getting the match announcements. That's something like announce the matches way ahead of time, but then they have a problem with the build being good. So then they change it to, okay, we won't announce the matches. And then it's
I think you need a hybrid, right? Yeah. I think you need to get, which we've kind of done. We essentially know that it's Sting, Darby, Young Bucks as the main event. Yeah. Even though we haven't seen the graphic, we know that's what it is. Yeah. I think getting, 2 or 3 matches out there early, and then the rest of the card you can naturally fill up. Like we assume it's Joe, Swerve, and Hangman as well. Like,
triple threat.
We do kind of see where it's going, and then other stuff you can leave as a bit more of a build going into it.
Yeah. But good week of wrestling this week.
Did you hear the R-Truth news?
No, what's the R-Truth news?
Great. So the injury he had against, I believe it was against Waller, wasn't it, in NXT?
That's right.
He basically was close to having his leg amputated.
What the hell?
Due to like multiple infections. He had multiple surgeries. His body was like rejecting the stitches that he had. Like he said, like he was incredibly close to losing his leg, which is terrifying. And
that
like
is super fun.
Even more amazing that he's back now and wrestling and having a a pretty fun run right now, and I believe it's his birthday today as well. So
for R-Truth.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, R-Truth. Happy birthday to Jake in the chat, who says it's his birthday as well.
Oh, yeah?
So happy birthday, Jake. Thank
Happy
you for
birthday,
spending
Jake.
it with us. We appreciate you.
Oh, it was 2 days ago. Truth.
Yeah, when that he put that out. Yeah. That's crazy. Insane. We just did our podcast kind of talking about the Von Erichs and Kerry Von Erich and his leg, and we talked a lot about that, and like that's couldn't imagine, man. That's fucking terrifying. So, and look at R-Truth now.
Yeah.
On TV being one of the biggest merch movers.
How old do you think he is?
Fuck. I mean, I know he's old. I know he's got to be like 50. He's like 52?
52.
52.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about it. Like he was what? K-Quick. Then he was Ron the Truth Killings in TNA. I watched a lot of him in TNA. I have his TNA figure somewhere at my brother's house. Came with the NWA World Championship because he won it, and never forget.
Yeah.
Former champ. When you think of the NWA World Title, think of Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Tyrus, and Ron the Truth Killings.
What is it? EC3 right now? Yeah.
So yeah, shout out R-Truth and the whole Judgment Day stuff, because I do check out some of the. It's pretty funny.
It's funny, yeah.
He's always been a hilarious bit on WWE TV, and I think even more so found a stride with it's. They realized, hey, let's just do the Judgment Day thing with Sammy, just a little different.
The bloodline.
Yeah, sorry, the bloodline.
Yeah.
So there you go. That was everything this week in wrestling. We'll be back next week, Sunday after the Rumble.
Yeah,
talking about it at some point. Will it be 2 p.m.?
I think we can do.
Yeah,
I mean, we're watching the Rumble live. I'll make sure I've watched the cage match at least before we go live. I think 2's doable. Okay,
so next Sunday, 2 p.m. here on this feed, we'll be live.
Oh, and we need to give the results of the poll. We'll close with this. Exciting. And we'll see if we agree or not.
Just change.
All right.
Stop the. All right. Put up a vote earlier in the show to see what Royal Rumble.
We're doing this. Okay. In last place with 8% of the votes is 2010. In third place with 20% of the votes is 2002.
Okay.
In second place with 24% of the votes is 1991.
Okay.
That means with 48% of the votes, it's 2001.
You just swayed this to.
I'm okay with that.
to pick the one you wanted to do.
I mean, it's a good one. It's really fun to watch. I don't want to watch fucking Sergeant Slaughter versus Greg Valentine or whatever
I do not
it was. Yeah,
I do not. So yeah, that's great. Okay, so there you go. Here on our Patreon later this week. I think we're recording Wednesday. I'll put it up Wednesday as well. Yeah. So our review of the Royal Rumble 2001.
And we owe you a Ready to Rumble down the line.
We'll do it. Yes. We'll do it. I feel like we should get someone who I feel like we should get fucking David Arquette on.
Yeah,
I've DM'd him and asked him.
Yeah,
like years ago. But one day we'll get him on. Yeah, because I do love that movie. So I'm sorry if you really wanted that review. It will come or become a world champ and fucking pick it.
Yeah, that's true.
You can do that. Support your boys. Ready to Rumble. So thank you everyone for hanging out with us here, whether it's the YouTube or on the podcast. Let us know wherever you found us. Hit that subscribe, hit that nice review if you can, hit that download. It goes a long way. And yes, check us out, patreon.com/Poisonrana. $5 a month to become a friend and gives you access to hundreds of podcasts, wrestling, movie reviews, everything. So give us a shot if you need podcasts for your long drives, your hot showers, whatever it is. Just
absolutely
check us out, and you won't be disappointed. And shout out Demand Lucha. Like we said off the top, we had a ton of fun there last Thursday over in Parkdale in Toronto. We love going to these shows. Joey Janela getting that viral moment with Ricky. Oh man, I'm blanking. I was going to say Ricky Gervais, but that's a different one. But this comedian in a motorized wheelchair. They've been taunting each other for the past little while, and then he showed up. They had that great viral video I got. Someone send it to Cornette. I'm sure he has not seen it yet. But then some great wrestling as always. We got to see.
Shout out Tim.
Tim, we've never seen this wrestler before named Tim.
Infinite Man.
The Infinite Man, Tim.
Yeah, Tim.
Who we just decided to cheer for because he was pretty good. And
he's great.
Can't wait to see more of this guy. I love going to Demand Lucha. I gotta say they are legit the shows because not only is it like low Toronto, it's like, you know, it's not, it's just like, it's fun. It was so packed. It was so good. The vibes are always so fun. And we like supporting when we see like, wait, who's Tim? We don't know who Tim is. And then we're like, all right, let's put our, you know, we like to give our opinions. We're like, all right, let's see how shit this guy is. And then he comes out and he's like insane. And we're like cheering for him. And it's always good to like, you know, see the new up and support like local independent wrestling. And someday some of these guys will be on your pay-per-views, on your AEWs and WWEs.
And we always say, if you're an indie wrestler, put your name or your nickname on your gear. Whatever you want us to chant, put it on your gear.
Yeah.
Because often the sound production isn't great at these shows, although Demand Lucha's upped it, definitely.
Yeah.
So you don't always catch their name. And then you're just like, okay, there's a
Black trunks.
guy in blue trunks. Like, all right, what do I do?
Yeah.
Put your name. Tim.
Great.
Tim. Yes.
Tim. We were doing it every time he was getting a pin. We were, instead of 1, 2, 3, we're going Tim.
It felt like I was at Wimbledon in the early 2000s again. Go on, Tim.
Tim. We had fun, and we got to see Ali as well on his Canadian tour. His whole indie tour is like selling out. Every show this guy's being announced for. He cut a great promo after. Well, he fought Jack Cartwheel and Gringo Loco in a triple threat match. Obviously, it was insane. Some of the crazy spots these guys come up with. I don't know how they do it. And basically said, yeah, I want to do an indie run and support indie wrestling and everything. So Demand Lucha, as always, killing it. And they do have a next show, March 21st, 2024. Parkdale Hall, luchamarket.com for tickets to that. I believe Gringo's on it. Joey Janela's coming back. Cartwheel's on it again as our champ. I think Mance Warner's on it as well.
Okay.
Probably some more announcements down the line. And obviously we will be there because we love going to these things. So
yes.
we have listeners now who show up like, hey, I heard about this through you guys. Let's love coming to this and stuff. So love the whole community. And I've been looking and I'm watching the Philadelphia WrestleMania weekend shows. Like they've been announcing some crazy stuff. House of Glory announced Amazing Red versus Ali, which I know Siino and the gang are like, hey, we're probably going to that show, which sounds pretty good. I'm still waiting out for Okada versus Nick Gage if they announce that. Okada, Dolph Ziggler. Oh, there's a lot of different things you could be doing this year, Philly weekend. So let us know if you're going to Philly. If
Okada
any shows.
going 40 minutes with the Invisible Man.
Oh my God, yeah. That could happen, and I would watch that. I'm definitely have my eyes on the DDT show, and it looks like there might be a kaiju being announced. So definitely follow POSTwrestling.com for any updates on WrestleMania weekend plans. And let us know what your plans are, because we're going to be going there. And I mean, hopefully seeing some of you fine people out there. So thanks again for listening and hanging out with us here today. Really appreciate it. Poisonrana.ca for everything that we do. See you at the Rumble Party next week. We'll see you Tuesday for Up Next. We'll see you all the time. That's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And shout out John Pollock.
I'm a John Pollock guy.
Yeah, me too.
Ahoy!
Poisonrana.